if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within His Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. And I know the first step begins within me. What if I felt perfectly whole? What if my heart opened to everything with love? What if I knew only the truth? What if my mind accepted everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. Oh, Mother, Father, Spirit, guide us from above. Our sons and daughters look to us to show them love. Come, sisters, brothers, let's hold hands and sing as one, that we will be what we've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? Love. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within His Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. And I know the first step begins within me. What if I felt perfectly whole? What if my heart opened my mind accepted everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. Oh, Mother, Father, Spirit, guide us from above. Our sons and daughters look to us to show them love. Come, sisters, brothers, let's hold hands and sing as one, that we will be what we've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? Love. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be.
Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Reverend Dr. Michelle Izuku and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11:11 a.m. Arizona time and rebroadcasts on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday morning. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sofa Sundays. I have a special guest today as Rev Jeannie is out in the world spreading our messages around. And so we miss you, Rev Jeannie. We're glad that you're doing that. And I'm also glad that I get to have my wonderful husband with us today. I'm super excited.
Good morning.
We like when this man's on the sofa for lots of reasons.
Fairly.
Oh, so if you are on your way, you're never late here on the sofa, so keep heading on over. We're excited to see you. And if you're local and you could get here now, we are located at 7220 North 7th Street in Building 1A. It's called Unleash Your Life. These are the studios of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's practice, her coaching, her classes. This is where she does her thing. And luckily for us, she donates that to us to use that on Sundays. So we super appreciate being able to use this beautiful space for what we do, and we want you to know that this space is available to you too, because she does rent it out. So let us know if you want more information on that, or you can check it out at unleashyourlife.us for Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington at Unleash Your Life. And no, she doesn't pay us to do that. She doesn't even, I think, like when we do that, but we don't care. We do it anyway because we are really so appreciative. And she's one of our greatest mentors, and I think people ought to know that she's still out here operating and doing a bunch of cool stuff. She's got the best year yet, still runs all year long. So, yeah, so many cool things. And E4 just started.
Power, presence, P4.
Or P4, power, presence, possibilities.
Prosperity.
Yeah. So she's always doing something, always up to something, not one. So anyway. So, is there anything else that I've missed? That's usually just what I do, right? What we do. You can hear us? Good. We got our hug. Yeah, come on down. Get some hugs. You should be here in person. Then you can meet my husband, which is an extra bonus for you today, boys and girls.
We'll be live recording, so check it out.
Oh, he's over here recording too. He's so cute. Okay, so I'm going to pray us in. If there's nothing else, I will pray us in. And here we go. Now let's take a deep centering breath and bring ourselves into this moment. Grounding in this time together, recognizing one life, one power, one energy. We call it God, we call it Spirit, the divine. It is all there is. It is love, it is joy, it is peace. It is health, it is the balance of all. And each one of us, we are that manifestation, the unique expression of the one, of all there is. We are each expressing in our own unique way that love, that joy, that peace, that health, that vibrancy, that is God. And from that place of knowing my truth and the truth of everyone here present and anyone hearing my voice now or beyond this time, I speak my word into the law, knowing that the law can only say yes. And so in this moment, if we allow ourselves, we release anything that's happened already this morning. We just let it go. We allow ourselves to be in this present moment together. We also release anything coming after our time, knowing that it will be met with even more clarity, more ideas after our time, knowing that it will be there for us later. So that now we can be in this moment with our minds open, our hearts open, ready to receive what is ours to receive from the ideas, the sharing, the laughter, the connection. Knowing that this is a sacred, precious moment. We ground and rest in it. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this time. I'm grateful to be on the sofa this morning. I'm grateful for my husband's presence, for everyone that's present in this room, anyone receiving this message now or later. And so I release it knowing that it is already perfectly done in the mind of God. And together we say, and so it is. Well, got some good coffee going.
Yes.
Yeah, we had nice. We had breakfast this morning. We had a nice start to our day, and it was so cool that we were also going to be able to be on the sofa together today.
Right.
It's been a nice connection. And when you have a topic like we do today, that I am in perfect health, I balance my life. We didn't know that when I asked him to be here today. we didn't know that when we were spending this, the way that we've spent our weekend, these last couple of days of our time together this weekend. When he said, "Baby, what's the topic today?" I said, I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll send it to you." And then this morning when I went to send him, I'm like, "Oh, well, of course this is the topic. I am in perfect health. I balance my life." This is where we are at, and it's just, I love how this always lines up. And then Anne, of course, smiled because, we write our talks for Anne.
Yeah, all night trying to think what I need to hear.
That's right. Even though this was created last year. That's what's so interesting. This was created last year before the year started. We mapped out our being. So it's even more divine. Like, I love that because I know it's divinely this exact thing or a topic for today.
I think when you said that to me, it reinforced this idea that I think a lot of us in our minds, we align with idealism as a standard. So it's like, okay, ideally, I would like to be in perfect health and have balance in my life. But typically, that's not something that you're able to achieve because it's life happens. So I think it is interesting because these last 2-3 days, we've had a really good 2-3 days, and it's kind of proved that. And it just happened out of kind of this tendency to lean towards these moments that give us gratification and satisfaction. And in there was this idea of eating well, getting up in the morning, going to the gym, spending time together, quality time together, just having conversations, etc. When I was really busy, we get to do things. So yeah, I agree. It's fitting. I'm in perfect health. I balance my life. That's what I think everybody would like to achieve. Whatever religion you are, whatever race you are, whatever age you are, whatever your exigence in life, those are things that are really important. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. But spirituality, I imagine, is a large piece of that. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and you started to allude to it, but you didn't exactly say it. The thing that has shifted, there's thing that shifts is our alignment. What are we aligning with?
Right.
If you are aligned, right? If you are centered, if you are aligned in the moment with spirit, you naturally make choices that reveal our truth, which is perfect health, which is balance. We already are that. But we can decide based on our thoughts and our feelings and our actions whether or not we want to reveal our truth or block it. We're choosing in every moment and everything that we're doing all the time. And sometimes we're intentionally choosing,
right.
And sometimes we're not. We're doing it by default. It's just like whatever flops around, right? We're just, this happens, so now I'm just over here reacting, and then this is over here, now I'm over here reacting, and we're constantly running this way. And then there's moments like you stop by the sofa and it's like, oh yeah, let me realign. And I remember going to church at Creative Living Fellowship, and the sermon that Reverend Dr. Michelle usually was the one on the pulpit would last me till about Thursday.
Yeah, right.
And this is why this is why a lot of churches have a Wednesday thing. Because I can remember on Thursdays, I was ready, I needed another hit because I was already starting to go back into my programming, into the things I've just the way I always just did it, which I knew wasn't revealing my truth. It was the old patterning,
right.
And so when, I talk this up here all the time, and I'm not perfect at it, and I need to probably be setting some more safeguards in it, not waiting till Thursday, but every day being like, hey, where are you? Hey, are you present? What are you doing? Are you intentionally moving? Are you intentionally making these decisions? What are your thoughts saying to yourself? Because when those are in alignment, we naturally, we haven't been trying to connect and we've had a great several days because our mindset was intentionally aligned with what we want.
Yeah.
And then everything else was just easy.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Goes.
yeah, it does.
But your mentality rises up. It's like it wants to survive with all its old familiar behaviors, And so it starts screaming at you, right? So I hear it screaming at me, and I know that what that means is that I need to focus and align intentionally.
Right.
Because right now I'm running on automatic, on default.
Default. Yeah, I like to say default because I feel like that's you're not paying attention to it. It's this rote behavior, right, that we've just always done. And it's not always detrimental. Sometimes it does lead us in the way we want to go. You know, like have you ever driven somewhere and you all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I don't remember.
Right now.
That's probably why I got it.
How did I get here?
That's probably why I got it. Yeah.
You're commuting, you get home and you're like, I don't remember even getting in my car to drive home.
That's crazy.
Right, or you were gonna stop somewhere on the way home, but you went an automatic, just by default, your body just takes you home. You're like, shoot, I was gonna stop at the store and get XYZ, right? So there are some things that, yes, lead us to what we do enjoy. And so those patterns aren't necessarily detrimental, but are they really taking you where you want to be? Are you really moving, up leveling and elevating your spirit, your who you are or what you're experiencing?
Vibration.
Because sometimes we just stay in the good because it's just, we got here, this is good, we'll just sit here. Sit here.
So if I may, so there's a couple of things that I think about when I think about like leveling up, right? And being in a perfect place to be able to sustain a balance that allows me to believe that I am worthy of perfect health and balance in my life. And so we sit there and we say, okay, those are things idealistically, right? Let's get into idealism again, that we would like to achieve or experience, but it's not always attainable because there's other things that aren't aligned in our lives that allow us to get there. And then but prioritizing, especially in American culture, perfect health and balance, I don't know if that's a thing that it's taught to us when we're younger or when we're growing up. And I always allude to youth because it's so important. Like habits are taught, self-reflection, self-appreciation is taught. You can't just human beings we're creatures of habit. Good habits, could take us down a good path, and bad habits can take us down a bad path. Okay. That being said, I think that one of the things that my wife has helped me with is being intentional. Because I never thought about these things before because I was just going. I was in the rat race. And so my health I work out because I like to work out, but then, my mental health would suffer for sure because I was in the rat race and just try to get stuff and do things and be this and be that. And I never had a chance to find balance or whatever that looks like. And I imagine that balance looks different for every single person that's searching for it. So there's nowhere for me to be able to assert that balance is something that will be the same for you as it might be for myself. So I think it's a very complex, even though it's simple, it's for every human being it's different. Even prioritizing the time for you guys to come and sit here for an hour and a half or whatever. I mean, somewhere in your psyche, in the list of things that are important, that it was top of the list. But
that's
right.
Great.
But then for the next guy, maybe they might have intention or want to come and do that, but they don't because it's not top of the list. They prioritize things that maybe aren't important, or maybe to them are important, but excuse me. That might be the balance they're looking for. So it's a really interesting foray. So there's an interesting gateway there to get it to go down a rabbit hole. I like rabbit holes for the wrong reasons, but I just like to dive deep into stuff. But sometimes it's not even worth it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I know you're talking about being in that rat race and running around. Another aspect of that is you grab it and fast food or whatever. Not taking the time to nurture your body and efficiently fuel yourself.
Right.
So, that adds to not being in perfect health.
Right.
Right.
Fast food's so good. It tastes so good. In that moment, it's gratifying.
It's fake. It makes you think. Yeah, but if you're saying to yourself, I'm in perfect health and I live a balanced life, if you're affirming this for yourself, you're going to maybe get in line, but you're going to be like, man, this doesn't align with me. This isn't in alignment with me.
That's where it's sinking into your subconscious. That you've been using that mantra enough. That your unconscious mind is starting to adapt to that. And going, I know you're hungry and you want that quick instant, but what's better for you is go home and make a sandwich.
Right.
Or go have a salad.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And I wrote down here, Jeannie, look at me, I'm just doing all these notes now. Jeannie always does a flood of notes. I wrote down here that balance, I want to be clear, isn't about doing everything perfectly. So I'm not saying like, oh, every part of my life has the exact same, like, that's not what balance is. It's really just moving from our center, our truth, and moving from there, balancing, like being there, and then moving from there. Because you will naturally, like I said earlier, you will naturally move in an aligned, balanced way when you're moving from there. So for me, it's always checking my emotions, like how am I feeling right now? That's like that's the fastest indicator.
Right.
Do I feel calm, peaceful, good, or am my mind racing? Am I worried? Am I stressed? Am I anxious? Like that. Those are like clear indicators that hey, you're not moving from our center and our truth. We're moving from somewhere else. And we've talked before how if you're moving from future thinking, that doesn't even exist. And if you're moving from the past, it doesn't exist anymore. So you're making moves from areas that don't even exist. And they won't be correct moves. They'll be wrong. And that's okay if you've done that. Like I'm not like don't worry about it. You can always course correct. And you can learn from those moves too. There's so much to learn and grow and like, oh, you know, I didn't like that, let me fix that. But when you're moving from center, when you're moving from your truth, those are the right moves. And you can check, am I making this move from anger? Am I mad at so-and-so? So now I'm like, or am I really coming here and being like, what's the outcome I'd like to have? What's my move? Moving from here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to create what you really want to be creating in your life.
And I'll add a couple other things. So I think, some people think that, their lives are, their lives, that like I'm living for me, which is great, right? But I think the power of living for other people and living for the if you're fortunate enough to have a partner or a best friend or someone that you really, really value, that you love, and and they have this energy that I'm talking about. Obviously, in this case, I'm talking about my wife, but they have this energy that encourages, right? It's easier to live a life like this, or try to even aspire to live a life like this, because there's inspiration, there's hope, there's excitement, there's dedication, there's things that you could aspire to have and do. And I say that because I have been just to kind of give you guys context, I've been in a job that for a year and a half that I didn't like, right? Well, I wasn't enjoying it, okay?
Treated well.
I wasn't treated well.
Sorry.
But I wasn't enjoying it. And so with that, I think my perfect health suffered, and then the balance of my life suffered. I mean, for sure. I felt trapped in a way, because I wasn't able to give myself and my wife and my family the things that they deserve. And that being said, one of the things I kept doing, and I've been doing up until 3 days ago, yesterday, was telling my wife, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start going back to the gym. I'm going to start, being healthy. I'm going to start doing this, that, and the other. And then I would set targets, on a Monday or whatever, and then Monday would come, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know what this woman never did? She never discouraged me from having that goal, having that vision, that target of where I wanted to go. And I think that's really important, because, yes, idealistically we can live for ourselves and balance and perfect health, but there's always other factors that play into it. So when you have an opportunity to encourage someone and to kind of give them positive energy and tell them that it's okay and they can get there and it'll happen, blah, 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 do it. Because sometimes that's all they need is that, and that actually translates into like a belief, a foundational belief that, that it will happen. And I think for us, we had it and then we lost it. And then it's kind of like, I told you it would come back, and she was like, I know. And it's coming back, and I can feel it. So that's what I would encourage people to encourage. Go ahead, answer it.
Well, and the other thing that you bring up, you talk about living intentionally and, the support that your wife gives you. I mean, that's really part of it too. The people that we draw to ourselves when we're living intentionally are people that are going to support us for those things that are best in our life, because that's what they want too.
Right.
So you get surrounded by your tribe of like-minded people, and it helps. Like I know for me, if I'm having a tough day, all I have to do is reach out to someone,
Right.
and they will help me raise my vibration just by loving me.
Right.
And so, in living intentionally, it also has to do with who's in your vicinity.
Right.
Yeah, when you are aligned and centered, you also make different choices of who you spend your energy with. And we always encourage, like, build your tribe, build your tribe, build your tribe, because when you have forgotten who you are, you want people that encourage who you are, not discourage you and make you forget, like keep you going down that path. You want someone that speaks life into you, gives you the
Not
grace.
shaming for the
Right.
moments that you don't reach what you want to
Thank
do.
you.
Just
There's
like
no
you were
shame.
saying.
Like, knock that off. Yeah, Anne's a big proponent of no shaming. And actually one of the first people that brought that to my attention. So yeah, and just like there's that story about Mary Mann and Morrissey, who a lot of you know in religious science world. If you're not in the religious science world, she's a huge, I think I'm not sure what her credentials. I know she's a reverend. I'm sure she's a doctor. She just doesn't use that now, but she's a huge proponent of religious science, but also a lot of the teachings and things like that. But I don't know her story verbatim, but I know there was a point where she was very ill when she was young, and she couldn't see her own healing because everything hurt, and she just felt awful, and she could have died. Like
Somebody asked her to focus on
Yeah,
one
like,
thing.
is there anywhere that you don't hurt? And it was her pinky toe. And they said, focus there. And there she was like, okay. And then they said, well, I don't know if she said, like, but basically the gist is that she didn't believe that she could get herself better. This was going to happen through her. And that person said, but do you believe I believe? Can you believe that I believe it?
Mm-hmm.
And she did. She did believe that person believed it. And sometimes I'm getting chills all over my body.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes we cannot hold it for ourselves. That's why your tribe is so important, to have the right people in your tribe. You don't just need a bunch of gossip girls and people that are just going to tell you what you want to hear. Like, actually, we don't need that at all. We need people that are going to tell you what you should hear, and they're going to hold you accountable, and they're going to speak life into you at all times. We really, really need that.
And love you unconditionally.
And love you no matter what goes down, right? Because you know why they do, people that do that, because they see your truth. They know your greatness already. And so if you can say to them, I may not feel it right now, I may not know that right now, but I believe you. I can believe outside you. And sometimes that's all it takes. And next thing you know, you got a Mary Mann and Morrissey changing the whole world over 40 years? I don't know, like so many years. That she had a 3,000 person church. 3,000 people showing up to church with her back in the day. So like that came because this person had that belief before Mary did, and that person started that fire. So, and sometimes that's those moments where you're so, like, she was at that point in her life, that was a turning point. Those moments can cause the greatness to come out. Go ahead, Tara.
I don't know if you're familiar with Bob Proctor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love
But
Bob Proctor.
He's got a great story about Susan Gallagher, and she was going through a tough time. They went out for a coffee, and she's like, just everything just seems, what do I do, And he gave her great advice. He was like, sit down, write a list of 10 things you're grateful for, and then spend the next 5 minutes with Spirit, and you will realign, and you will have some answers. And I have started using that, and it is incredibly, it's like our human magic. That gratitude anchors you in the truth of what is good and positive in your life. Then you're on that 5.
Mm-hmm.
You get right on that disc, as Abraham would say. You get right on that disc, and then an answer is going to come. So, I don't know.
I'm going to repeat that to make sure everybody heard it. Yeah. So Tara is saying that Bob Proctor gave advice to, what was her name?
Susan Gallagher.
Susan Gallagher, that if you're feeling in a place of despair, or you can't see your next moves, or you're
That
feeling hopeless.
everything's messed up place where things are not how they should be.
So when everything's in a messed up place and not how they should be, you take a moment, write down 10 things you're grateful for, and then sit with spirit for 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then you will have shifted your energy, have realigned, and now you know your next moves. And that's bringing you to center.
Yep.
So here's the perfect practice. If you're feeling like I can't get there, I don't know, or whatever, just sit down, write out 10 things you're grateful for, and you are going to align.
Yep.
Right? We can all give ourselves 5 minutes of grace, right? Give 5 minutes, please. Let's do that. And then now you're aligned, and now your moves are the right moves. Now when you make moves, you're aligned. So this is a great practice. Thank you, Tara, for bringing that up. Bob's great.
On the flip side, on the flip side, in my humble opinion, I think that a lot of people, I think most people out there don't have it figured out, like just life in general. And so, and I used to be of the idea, because I had, I thought I had it figured out. I used to think that, I used to say things like 15 years ago, like people that don't have it figured out, man, I don't know what's going on, and you should be doing this. I was really stuck in my ways and beliefs. And kind of more life has challenged me and thrown things at me. I understand that everybody's just trying their best.
Yeah.
Even people that mess up and afflicted with negativity and bad things in their lives, they at some point, even in that context, are trying their darndest to just survive. And even and I used to hear this mantra also, kind of embedded in purpose. I used to be like, purpose. Like I was like, whatever. But it's so important. You have to have something that drives you, and it's okay, whatever it is, right? Whatever that looks like, whatever you feel is important to you, but it's finding it is the hardest thing, because a lot of people, like,
what's your why?
What's your why? Yeah, a lot of people don't have the exposure to even understand what their why is. I'll give you a quick story. So I went to this private school when I was like, I went to one when I was from 6 to 10 in England called Packwood, and I went to another one from 11 to 14, 15 years old when I came to the States in Somerset, England, called Millfield. When I got to Millfield at about 12 years old, they put you through this thing where it's like a career path thing, right? And they put you in front of, this was a long time ago, right? They put you in front of this woman that I've never met before. I just knew that was a career counselor office. You go have a meeting with her, and they can tell your teacher, you have a meeting, walk in. I actually remember it like it was yesterday. Mine was at 10 a.m. because I had history class, and when I loved history, I had to walk out of history. We were studying the Battle of Bosworth, 1066. And that's how specific.
That's how you love that.
No, that's how negative, how specific. I'm going to get to it. That's how specific this situation was for me. I remember all of this. And so I walk into her office, sit down, I'm excited, whatever. She doesn't know me. I 11, 12. I had great grades, excelled in sports, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there, and I do sit there and start talking to her. We have a 10-minute, 15-minute conversation. And then she says, and it gets to like, what do you want to do when you're older? What do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I don't know. I like science. I like geography. I had no clue. There's so many professions. What am I going to know when I'm a kid?
Right.
You ask a 12. That's probably the first things first. Don't ask children that question. It's a horrible question, but they ask that question.
Yeah.
And then you know what they suggested for me? She suggested I be a construction worker, bricklayer, something with my hands, something. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. That stayed with me forever, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, So at least she gave me a target, something to have direction towards, right? Imagine how many people there are out there that have none of that, right? While I despise her for what she suggested, there's this person that doesn't know anything about me suggesting a life path, which I might have taken, right? So all that to say, kind of fall back on what we were talking about earlier, encouragement, enlightenment, giving people something to aspire to, breathing life into people. It's so important. I remember all the negative things that happened to me when I was a child, every single one. I remember negative things that happened to me in my job the last year and a half. Like I remember everything. But then people might look at somebody and say, "Oh, they got it all together. They'll be okay." No, you can cause damage. So you can affect people when it's time for them to try to attain perfect health and balance in their lives. You can affect them with that journey. So be very careful. Yeah, either way, right? Be very very good. Be very careful what you say to people and breathe life, encourage, help them to be determined, help them to see the vision, help them to believe that they can do it. Even if sometimes you're like, yeah, that might be tough, but you can do it, and I'll help you. I'll encourage you. It's so easy to do that. You go on the internet now, social media, you see comments. Every single post I've looked at, bar none, someone takes the time to say something negative to somebody that's just living their lives. They'll find something negative, and I used to look at it and be like, these horrible people. But in my head, I'm like, who hurt that person? Who failed that person so substantially that they can look at someone they've never met before, never seen in their lives, and tell them that you suck and you're not going to be anything, and that what you just posted was horrible, and actually what they just posted was delightful and nice, and from there, and then people that are just disabled or have issues, physical issues, and they get killed in social media. I mean, killed. I mean, with thousands of comments. But it's crazy to me. Let's be better. Be better. Sorry.
I find that like people who tend to project their negative out, that's usually a lot more about them personally and their unhealed stuff. And there are a few social media platforms where there are a lot of people that are like that, and there are a few that are not like that at all. I think it's very interesting how people can either choose to verbalize all that negative and put it out there, type it, whatever, or you can choose, even if you're taking in something you find negative, to say, no, like I don't need to say that.
Move on.
I can just
Isn't that amazing?
On by. I can just, I would say this if I were in a different frame of mind, but I know that might be hurtful. So like I've even found myself sometimes with like a negative idea of something that I'm scrolling past and going, I could, and I type in something, I'm like, I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to encourage this algorithm to feed me more of this stuff that triggers me.
Yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Well, I'm out. Delete and then just scroll right on.
Right.
Well, and that's a choice. And that demonstrates, just again, who's in our orbit. I was thinking about the situation with the custody battle that I'm about to enter in. And, we could have just had a conversation, right? But because they're untrustworthy people that do petty, vindictive things, they assume that that's who I am as well.
Right, very good.
That's not how I operate.
Wow.
And people that are trustworthy tend to trust other people, even maybe sometimes when they shouldn't.
Right.
But people who are untrustworthy see that in everybody.
Very good. Wow.
I agree.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, what you are is definitely reflected back to you. That's what you will.
I could have used that in my last job. No, for real, because I was always
available for consultation.
But because I trust people, and I think I'm trustworthy, especially in that context. I'm not trying to screw you over.
Right.
I would always be flabbergasted by this idea that people were projecting this negativity on me, that I wasn't trustworthy. It would
Car salesman.
Right. It would offend me profoundly, deeply, because I'm like, who do you think what? Like, how do you think I would operate that way? And so, that's a very good point. We definitely, again, I would encourage, and it's so hard sometimes, and I'm getting so much better at it because of her, and I mean that 100%, because of my wife, it's things that I've never reflected on. But just being very careful with your output, the way that do I need to do that? And sometimes I'll say things to somebody in person or whatever, just to but in a way that I don't even realize it might hurt their feelings. But I have to I'm a big person, and we'll go to a restaurant, and I said something to a hostess one time, and I think she probably quit her job, because she was rude. But then in my mind, I'm like, I need to do that. This poor girl, 20-year-old kid that probably never understood that she had attitude, whatever. I could have just said it in a nicer way. And I think I said it nice at first. I did actually.
You must be having a rough day.
Well, yeah, exactly. I said, something along the lines of, you don't have to. You can actually be nice. I said something like that, and she got offended because I was being nice. You really
That's
weren't.
nice. You have something to work
well,
on.
You really weren't.
Yeah.
I come here, whatever. That was a lot of my ego speaking. Instead of just letting her do whatever she was doing, put me on the list, and then me get lost, I had to say something. But so the version of me that I'm in perfect health and I balance my life, I wouldn't do that. I would be better in that situation, and that's what we should strive to do. Is every situation in life to be the best version of ourselves we possibly can be, regardless of what that other person is doing, which is the hardest part, because we everybody has a level of vindictiveness in them. Some people have very, very minimal, others have a lot, but everybody has it somewhere. But even if you don't, like you said, you started writing, you took it out. That was minimal. That's awesome. That means you are self-reflective and you can self-moderate.
I had a mentor give me one of the most powerful questions, and I've used it in my business forever and a day. She said, because I used to be construed as, because I'm direct, as condescending, which would never be my heart, but that's how it came across.
Right.
And she said to me, just ask yourself, what's the result you want to produce with this communication? If you want to make someone feel like a piece of crap, done. But if what you want to do is resolve the issue and raise the vibration of the relationship you have with that person, there's another way to communicate.
Sure.
Right.
You can only control yourself. And I think people are making that mistake of like, oh, if I behave this way, I'll control how that person reacts or responds to me. But really, if you're controlling from your place of intent, then you're going to have a positive or the good outcome you're hoping for. Not always, but
Right. And
so
we
that's
all
the
have.
best you can do is
Just as a
control
question
yourself.
for you guys, what's your thoughts on? So then, when there are moments that you need to respond, perhaps in a way that's controversial, abrupt, God forbid, negative, like, do you say don't do it? Like, I'm just asking you guys.
I think that's a respond versus react thing.
Right.
So that taking that breath, setting a new tone, you have to say something to somebody that they're probably not going to receive well.
Sure.
It's like, okay, let them know with your energy.
Right.
My intention in what I'm about to speak is good. You
Right.
may even have to say that.
Good.
But to take that time to make that space between you and another,
Right.
you create the atmosphere for growth.
Right.
For somebody who maybe wouldn't otherwise want that or
Sure.
be receptive to it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask myself, who do I want to be in this moment?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be? Do I want to be that person that says, well, you're an ass? Or do I want to be that person that says, when you do this behavior, this is how it affects me? It's all in the way you communicate.
And it's being aware of your triggers.
Read my book.
And paying attention to your triggers, So if you do lose it with whatever, maybe on your own time, then go, okay, so I didn't want to show up like that. What was the trigger in that for me? And that's an awareness for you. That's work for you. And that's wonderful knowledge. So thank you to that person. So you could bless them and say, thank you for them going through this process with me. I hope that I didn't make them quit their job. You know what I mean? I hope that they're okay. Send them blessings and love. And now I have something to look at for myself. Something is going on. Why did I choose that route? And if I could be non-triggerable in situations like that and be aware of myself, I would like to say to somebody, that woman in particular, because you brought that up, something like, I would have liked to have been treated this way. I would have liked it if you would have smiled and said this to me. So next time, if you, that's how this is what I would have liked. How I would have liked to have felt leaving our conversation,
I'm just going to say that really, really, really good customer service people don't fight.
Right.
They basically stay nice. They
Right.
stay calm.
Right.
I was dealing with a Verizon person the other day, and I was hot, and I was actually screaming at him. He just stayed calm and not reactive, and by the end, everything worked out well. But probably if I was in a situation, I wouldn't have been as good as him.
Yeah.
But I probably would say, I'm really sorry you're having a bad day. Maybe we need to talk about this another time, or would you like me to get somebody else? To
I
talk
like
about
that.
this?
Yeah.
Because it's like they say, you never know what that other person is dealing with
Absolutely.
right now. It could be something that died just
Well, yeah.
10 minutes ago, and
Happens.
they're concerned about it, and they can't deal with this.
Like, or what's the one? This is another Mary. I don't know why she's coming up, Mary Man and Morrissey, but this is the do-over. You ever heard her thing, the
It
do-over?
always be.
Like, if you look at somebody and go, you know, I'd like a do-over with that. You know, we start again. We got off on the wrong foot, I think. Can we have a do-over? Because I'd like a different interaction here. You
And I
know,
find, I was kind of short with one of my coworkers several weeks ago, and I sit there and stew about it, and I realized I've got to get up and go apologize because I shouldn't react, even though she triggered me. That was my trigger, not hers.
true.
I
That's
had
true.
to get up and go say, I'm really sorry that I reacted the way, this is what I was feeling, and please don't take it personally, it's all about me and not you in terms of my anger. So I try as best I can to apologize when I know that if my trigger's been told and I reacted wrong.
And that's huge.
It's
Yeah.
hard, it's not. it's not
I'm sorry,
sure.
that is huge.
It's really hard to do, but I've done it a couple of times.
But then you release them of
Right,
instead of sitting over here fuming. You went, you know what? What's my part? I'll take responsibility for my piece. I didn't excuse what you said or
That
did.
also raises your vibration.
It does. That's
And the other part of it is
really,
sometimes
really
I've
great.
discovered if you don't do that, then there's this silent treatment on both sides, and you walk around on eggshells for like 2 weeks until it gets finally dissolves. And
Yeah.
I hate that even worse.
I hate that is
Or
awful.
forever.
Then everybody
Forever,
feels
yeah.
this thing.
It reminds me when I was a telephone operator. Now, when people don't have to look you in the eye.
I'm sorry, I have to ask. Did you do the plug-in? Oh, I
So cool.
love that.
It wasn't one
so
of the
cool.
gloves, however,
So
because they used to make them wear hats and gloves and all. But you know, you're faceless to someone, and the
yeah.
crap rolls downhill. And so it was not unusual at all for people to be treating us terrible.
Yeah.
And so the end result was I was a snarky operator for a long time. And then once in a while somebody would say, seems like you're having a rough day. And then first of all, I'd feel like crap for the way I was treating them, but it would also wake me up to the fact that I didn't need to carry somebody else's burden and then lay it on someone else.
Like
Yeah.
you're not kicking the cat.
Yeah, right.
I can remember being a young woman, buying a pair of pants to go out that night with some friends. Where I was in this line at what was that store called Broadway? Remember Broadway? And I was in there, and the woman. So there was quite a line, and I was a little agitated because I was running late, you know. And this woman's up there, and she was rude, like she was nasty, rude to this person, and it was getting to my turn, and I'm thinking to myself, and everybody's just rude right back. So it was just ugly, ugly, ugly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my God, you know? And I thought, I'm going to try something different. So I'd had example, and this is way before I ever had any of my spiritual practice, right? But I thought, it was like a little game, like, I'm going to try something different, you know? So I walked up, and she was like, let me have your thing, you know, whatever. And I said, how's your day going? And she was like, worst day. I've had the worst. I said, oh, really? What's going on? What happened? And then she just started saying, she wouldn't look up at me, but she's just doing her thing. Oh, it's just this and it's just that. I said, I am so sorry. That's got to be tough because then you're just stuck here and having to go through that like that. She's like, and then she looked up at me. I remember her going, it is tough. Thank you for asking. I said, you're welcome. And then she gave me my stuff and whatever. And then I thought, as I left, I didn't wait to see, but I thought, you're all welcome.
Exactly.
You're all welcome. I just
We'll
reset.
send a steak back
Just
in
reset
a
that
New York
woman.
minute, but we will not take the nanosecond it takes to like good customer service. I will go out of my way to let people know that I appreciate the service.
Me
Ah.
too.
Because I had one restaurant manager said, I think he's trained all my staff. Just in saying, well, don't bring it to me if it's not what I asked for. You get to be the quality control.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of taking that moment to turn someone's day around. It's easy to do.
It
And
actually
costs
is.
nothing. It takes no energy.
Very good.
Yeah. And it can just be a game. You can just make it a game.
Exactly.
I love that.
Like,
Whose life can I? Whose day can I change
yeah, who
today?
can I, like,
Who's
who's
my
my guy,
brain?
my person today, you know?
With my charm.
I had a similar situation many, many years ago. My sister and I needed a Neiman Marcus, which has a reputation of being really very customer
They
service.
are, yeah.
We were both wearing shorts and we're young and kind of poor. But my mother loved to collect figurines, and we saw this one that we thought she would like, and we could afford it. And we asked the salesperson, how much is that thing? That was the way I put it. How much is that thing? That is not a thing. That is a trophy. And my sister looked at her, and I looked at her, and I wanted to say, we'll take it. Because I knew they worked on commission in there, but I didn't have the guts to do it. I thought, she's not getting my business. We're going to give it to somebody else. Can I get somebody else to come and help me? But I wish now in retrospect I would have said, we'll take it so you can have the commission.
Right.
that,
Yeah.
that's what I should have done in retrospect, but we were young students.
Isn't that incredible how we, as
Yeah.
I'm saying, remember those
Right.
moments where we could have been better, because we know intrinsically that we could have been better.
Right.
You know, I could have behaved in a
But,
better way.
but like you said earlier, people are doing their best.
Just trying to figure it out.
Right.
And you can give yourself grace. And there's a practice of actually reliving that moment and change it. You have that power to go change it and put yourself in a different position. And you gave her that commission and you hugged her and she said, "Oh, thank you." And it changed her whole, and you can see it totally
Yeah.
different
That's
Love
why-
it.
and
that's why
change
she
that
did
whole
it.
energy around it.
I
Yeah.
think we've
Yeah.
done that on some occasions with people, just kind of giving them energy that, especially what my whole thing is when I see someone that has wherever it is fear, to talk or I don't know why I bring fear in some people, but it happens sometimes, right? Like so the kid,
Right.
like I think they were kind of intimidated, whatever, and I'm like, why? In my head, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it.
I'm like,
Anyway,
baby.
but then you try to, and then I'll make an effort if I see that to be kind and patient and listen and tell them it's okay if they make a mistake. It's like that's so much
And
easier
that
to do.
impression, I bet you people think of you.
Right. Well, then
So many young people
Right.
think of one mom
I'll
that they
say to
interacted
someone,
with you.
I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah, that's why I love doing that too, because they're all like, "So sorry." This is. I'm like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
There's been a
Okay,
lot
no
of
big
moments
deal.
like that with
No
young
big
people. 'Cause that used to be my craft was and it will be again was youth.
Yeah.
Like thousands of them, and there was so many interactions where these kids would
Such a big deal.
right, and it would change just by giving them the grace and the energy and and focusing in on them and talking to them. Just a simple, huge.
Because they're
And I never
not
even
getting
thought
it.
about that like before when I was younger. Like huge, it would change their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like
Somebody believing in you.
Yeah,
what-
one
nothing
adult.
stronger,
They
nothing
don't
more
need.
powerful.
It doesn't have to be their parents either. It can be just one. They don't need. They need one person in their world to believe in them,
And
and,
then-
it will change
and
everything.
then you contribute to them eventually being able to be in perfect health and having a balanced life. And I love that that's a thing. Like the human, we are the most unique creatures on planet Earth, because we have subconscious and we're able to think. We have these emotions that we can navigate through and redirect in a way to make sure that we're benefiting others. Even this altruism that we're kind of expressing right now, this idea of living for others, that's such a beautiful thing, I had conversations, and I'll leave you with this. I have conversations with people at my job, certain people, because I'm curious, and I'm always curious about people. And I'd ask them, I said, "Hey, what does that look like for you to like be this or that or the other or do this?" And a lot of the responses was about them, never about anybody else, very selfish. And I'm like, I don't know if I could live like that, because that's not who I am. Being honest with who you are, and then reality is fine, but be honest with who you are is the first step to everything in life. To get to, and this is all, again, ideally we want to be in perfect health and have balance. But the first thing, in my opinion, is obviously you mentioned that your why, but being honest with yourself. What is it that you want? Where do you want to go? What kind of life do you want? What kind of person do you want next to you? I didn't know that, I'd have someone like her next to me until she existed. I didn't even know a person like her existed. No, for real, like, especially in this kind of, this landscape. But
She's a wonder.
she is. And she's a woman. She's a real woman. She's a kind woman. She's always trying to be better. She's always trying to be kinder. She's always trying to find a way to enrich lives of others, and make the world a better place. Good heart. And all those things, again, without that, I don't know if I would be able to be on this quest for perfect health and a balanced life. Because I am an empath. I'm easily influenced by people, easily influenced by negativity on the flip side of positivity. Positivity influences me, but not as much as negativity. My whole first business,
So here's to heaven.
right, my first business was, the impetus for my first business was my ex-wife, when I retired from playing professional basketball, telling me that I will run circles around you in business. That's what she told me. And she didn't know who I was. We never lived that reality because I was still playing. I retired. They would stay in the house. I came back home. I started the business, and we had whatever. So that was all I needed to hear.
You'll do well.
And I killed it. Like,
You're right.
and I will never forget that till this day.
I'll show you.
Right.
Hold this.
So,
Right.
but in this moment of my life, I've had to now align with this idea of I have a positive person around me, and that's even more powerful because I've had to make a shift in my soul and my heart. Anyway, that's it.
I do. I keep thinking, I don't want to forget to say this. You know, he was talking about social media and people making all these bad comments, or whatever. Well, my husband's a crusader because he gets on there and goes after all those people who get on there and be like, oh, you should repay, blah, blah, blah. But he talks inside. He's so intellectual if you can't tell. And I'm like, I don't even know if that person understanding what you said, but you just slammed him, you know.
Well,
but he'll go back and he'll
make them think about
try
what they
to
said.
like think about what you just
But
said.
you think about it this way.
Who are you to
Yeah.
say that? You
And
know?
when you're living with that mindset of also being there for others, it feathers your own nest too.
Very good. Very good.
You are the temple and the torch.
Right.
There it
The
is.
concept of it begins within.
It
You're
does.
taking the time to go within, align with who you really want to be, and then that lights the fire. That's the torch.
Yeah.
Right.
And then other people see that lighthouse and they go, "Wow, I like that. Why am I not being like
Right,
that?
very
Can I
good.
be like
I want
that?"
more of that.
Yeah.
And they think they can get it by hanging out with you, but no, you have to do some
No,
work.
it's not in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It
But I
might
think
rub off a little bit.
hanging
but
out is a good
yeah,
start.
it is important. You got it. You've tried this so important.
Right, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that a lot up here, how important it is, because you need your tribe in the good time, like right now, when it's all good. Like, invest in your people, reach out, make sure you have those connections so that you're not uncomfortable to do it when you need it. It's a normal thing to do, right? All the time.
So an
So
amazing discussion.
Yeah.
I know, it's so fun.
The great thing about these discussions is we never know where it's going to go.
That's the best
Right.
part. That's how Jeannie
I'm
and I
not quite sure
designed
where we
it.
just went, but it was,
Yeah.
we went there.
But we designed it that way because we wanted spirit to speak through us.
Right.
We didn't want it to be pre-programmed
Right.
The spiritual
and
talk
scripted
show.
out. The spiritual, yeah, our spiritual church club here. So, do we have anything else we want to share? I love you guys were so involved today. I love that. I mean, you guys usually are a little bit, but that was wonderful. Anything else? Everybody feel complete?
Be careful, yeah. Be careful. Whoever's hearing this message, be careful that you have a role in somebody's life that could change their life. That matters so much to the core of who they are, and you don't even realize it. So be careful of your words. Be careful of your presence. Be careful of your intention. Be careful of the energy that you give to someone. Whether it's a look, whether it's a greeting, whether it's a morning where you say, someone at my job before I left said that I really appreciate you because it was a mechanic. You're always very kind when I see you. He's like, salesmen aren't usually like that. And I'm like, what? I'm thinking in my head, what? You're over here doing surgery on these cars, fixing these vehicles. You're probably brilliant. That's not even the point. But you're another human being that's working your butt off. I mean, it's expected. Ballet is the same. But ballet was always weird when I would say good morning to him. How you doing? You always look at me like, why are you talking to me? Like, you guys, you're one of the white coats, with salesmen with white shirts and ties. They, like we're supposed to walk around like we're important, but buddies, excuse me, we're salesmen for God's sake. It's like, so I think that just being kind to people when you maybe don't even feel like it might not make a difference, saying hello, recognizing people, their existence. About 10 years ago, there was a lady in the gym, overweight, and I saw her every day for like 4 weeks. And one time I went up to her and said, hey, I just want to let you know, I see you, you're killing it, you're doing a good job. She started crying.
Yep.
She started crying, and I'm like, what? In my head, I'm like, why is she? But then I realized,
You acknowledge her.
because I acknowledged her, that's it. Because she probably thought no one saw her. The simple gesture to say, I see you getting after it. That's, I think I said it like that. I see you getting after it. That's how I would talk to her. I see you, girl. I see you getting after it. You go be hard. And she looked at me like, really? Yeah, I've been trying. It's like, it's been really hard. And she started crying. I'm like, oh, goodness. I felt bad.
And that's when you're like, whoa.
Just after coming back.
Happy to.
Right.
Right.
Really good.
And I wanted to I love this. You always bring your full heart. I
Right.
appreciate your vulnerability and bringing it all here to the stuff. It's so important that we do that. Jeannie and I set this up to be an authentic
Sure.
place and allowing whatever comes. Because sometimes stuff comes that maybe we don't want to say it all, but we're just like, we have to because that's what we're being given, right? And to remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are all having a human experience. Everyone is. But we're still the truth. The truth is that we are still spiritual beings and we have superpowers. And what you're expressing is one of our major superpowers is to affect each other. I can take my energy and throw it to you. And what am I throwing to you? Am I throwing you blessings? Am I throwing you grace? Am I throwing you kindness and love? What am I throwing, right? And yes, you can go up to change someone's life that you're talking to them, and it makes you want to cry. When you are such a good man. You're so good to people. And then there are times where maybe you see somebody going through something, and maybe you don't feel like you can go over there and say that to them. It doesn't matter. You still can throw your energy there. You can do that to countries, leaders, anybody you want, all over the world. You see something that you don't like, you don't have to go there and do it. You don't have to get in there. You can send it.
It's not always about quantity, it's about quality.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, that one person or one thing that you help is better than helping nobody.
Yeah.
So.
And the trickle down
That's the way I have
effect.
to look at it, because I keep saying, well, I can't take care of all the pets in the world, but I can take care of this one cat, and it makes a difference to that one cat.
Right.
So,
You know.
It's true.
but love the animals.
Yeah, I love animals, and I can't stand to see the stars, so I feed them at work. But I can't take care of all of them, so I take care of what I can.
And that's it. And it's just like me with the woman at the store, you know, like couldn't affect all those people that she saw the rest of the day. But I did, didn't I? Because I affected one. And the ripple effect, I'll never know. You said that to that woman. I mean, I don't know how old she was. Maybe she has children. Maybe she went home that day and she was in a different space, and her kids got the benefit of a mother coming home having been seen and appreciated. And what does that woman look like compared to a mother that comes home and feels like no one gives a shit? That's a different mom. So and then that kid we just don't know. And the same is for the opposite. So you're right. We have to be careful how we wield our power around. We are powerful beings, whether we always feel like it or not. We are what we are. And the sooner that we realize that, accept that, and live from there, the better for everybody involved. Because we're all having the same experience for whatever reason. But I like it. Okay. So if there's nothing else, are we good? Okay. Here we go. Let's pray this out. All right, let's take a deep breath. Whew, that was so much goodness. Just release that and let that go. Recognizing the one life that flows through all of us. It flows through every experience and every moment, every breath, every cell in our bodies. There's only one. And as there is only one, we are each that one, moving, expressing as us. We're all different. We're all unique, but we are all the same. And from that place, from my knowing my truth, in that alignment, I know that as I allow myself to be in that knowing, I know my power. I know the ripple effect. I know that as I'm aligned, I am that perfect health. I am balanced. And as I allow that for myself, I reflect that out to others. And it then is reflected back to me. Every time I put out love, it comes back to me. Every time I put out joy, it comes back to me. Every time I put out calm and grace, it always comes back to me. It's an ebb and flow. And we each have our own part of that. I speak health over our bodies. I speak peace over our minds. And I speak joy over our day, over our life. Remember to notice what you are speaking into your bodies, into your minds, and into your life, and into the bodies, minds, and lives of others. See the greatness, see the truth, see the oneness. It is all there is. It is all that we are. And in that knowing, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the awareness, for the sharing today, for our connection, for our truth. And I let it go, knowing and trusting that it's already done and perfect. And together we say, and so it is. Well, there. Listen, we love this spiritual church club. We love having special guests. We love it when Reverend Jeannie's here. And we would love more of you to join us in person. We are building something special. This spiritual church club the spiritual church club is a place that you can partner with all of us. If you need a tribe, if you have a tribe, come on down. Let's all be here together. Let's support each other through this life experience. And you can help us in many ways, getting our message out there, sharing our videos, liking our feed, subscribing to our feed on YouTube, which is under Begin Within Ministries, going on to our Facebook group, which is Sofa Sundays.
Like and comment.
Yes, please like and comment. The algorithm really likes that. It says, hey, something's going on here. I mean, I should share this around.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can also support us financially if you're able to do that, because that helps us do more for our partners. We have a special 2 workshops coming up from Rev Jeannie and August 16th and myself August 30th. And those are free to our partners. And then everyone else, there is a small fee. But we would love to just be benefiting everyone with those types of things as much as we can. So the more help that we have in that, the better. So we appreciate that. You can go to www.beginwithinministries.com to support us there, either with a one-time donation, or you can become a partner there too with a monthly donation of $45 for an individual or $75 for a couple or family. So have I missed anything? All right. Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, True Davis, for holding it down with our tech and setting us up. We love you so much. All right. Thank you, baby, for being here. We'll see you next week, Jeannie.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see everybody. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.